Thank you, Maier. Adam's mom.
April 14th. Can everybody hear me? Yeah. April 14th, 5:30 p.m. My phone light's flashing. I look at the caller ID and I know it's Graham, and my heart sinks. I know my son's dead. My son had to slink away in the middle of the night, after midnight, after his dad had gone to sleep, getting into his car, driving down the expressway to meet his fate. Graham had alluded to my son having depersonalization disorder, and that means that the lights are so bright that he can hardly see, and he's trying to drive even at night. He's got burning pain in his eyes, his face, his legs. He parks his car, he checks into this motel, he gets his room key, he puts down his deposit. Graham talked to you about his final meal. He had 2 pieces of raisin bread, muffins, and a glass of milk. He then proceeds to mix his illegal drug, which is a powder imported from China called Nembutal. He drank it. 20 minutes later, you get tired, your breathing goes down, your heart stops. My son dies all alone in a motel room without anyone there. No friends, no family, nobody. Graham and I could not be there. We would have been potentially criminally prosecuted for aiding and abetting. And even if we didn't administer this drug, just being in the room could potentially send us to jail. Adam and I talked a great deal about death and dying. He was terrified of attempting something in case he lived. Adam's a researcher. He was always telling me cases of people that hadn't successfully killed themselves. They ended up brain damaged, paralyzed, and still alive. He wanted to go. He was ready, and he needed an illegal drug to do it. Just having someone else import this drug, and there's somebody who did help my son, we don't know who it was, that person ran the risk of being criminally prosecuted. They risked their life to help our son, who was dealing with unbearable pain. And Adam did everything he could to protect his family at all costs. He protected us right up to the last minute. I remember when I learned I was first pregnant with Adam. Remember, Gray?
Yeah, I was in Antigua.
Graham was in Antigua on business, and I was at home, and there was no way that I could wait for him to come home. I had to tell him right away. And we were so excited, and Graham was so happy that when he went back to talk to his work colleague, they actually knew, she knew before Graham opened up his mouth, that I was pregnant. She's like, Maggie's pregnant, isn't she? Usually the first words out of a baby's mouth are mommy, daddy. The first words out of Adam's mouth were Maggie, Graham. He had heard us calling out so much to each other. And remember, we just burst into laughter. Adam was really intelligent as a kid. He never even touched the plugs. I didn't have to cover the electrical sockets. He just seemed to instinctively know what not to do. And every Friday night we would take him to Boston Pizza, and he wanted to run around and talk to people. You know Adam, he's a very social guy. And so he'd go up to the booth like this and just plunk himself down and say, hello, I'm Adam. And I remember Graham saying, Maggie, go and get him. He's bothering people. And I would say, no, he's learning how to socialize, how to become confident. There are a lot of signs for mental illness. You know, it started off a long time ago when my son was very young with tics and some symptoms of Tourette's, but they went away. So we didn't really know. We didn't understand anything about mental health back then. But my son had something mental OCD. It's this repetitive, intrusive thoughts over and over and over and over. And just as he got older and older, it just worsened. It just intensified. Then he developed generalized anxiety disorder. And I got to tell you, the combination of generalized anxiety disorder with OCD, you're locked in a mental tug of war inside your brain. It just doesn't stop. And it's invisible. No one can see it. We talked about his soccer. I'll give you an example. He had these compulsions. He had to move his fingers in a certain way. So he actually taped his fingers together so he could stay focused on his game. By the time Adam came to live with me in Ottawa, he was in his 20s, and he was on all kinds of different medications. And he was getting more and more frustrated. And you know what? Despite all that chaos, before he went to Algonquin College, he had 3 jobs. He was bartending, he was doing Facebook marketing, and somebody had said that was his motto. Keep on grinding, Mom, keep on grinding. And he was really ambitious. He wanted to make a lot of money because he wanted to help as many people as he could. I want to talk about Adam's character for a minute. He was a bartender downtown Ottawa. And at night, a lot of homeless people, a lot of addicts come out. One night there was a homeless man begging for food, and some, as my son would say, douchebag, yelled out, "Get a resume, man." So you know what Adam did? Adam was so angry that he went out and he bought that man a meal, and he sat down with him and he talked with him. And it turned out he'd been a medical doctor and he'd lost his entire family in a fire. Everyone has a story, Mom. Everyone. Adam remained adamant until the very end that he would bring attention to this cause. He spoke to police officers, lawyers, lawmakers, politicians, doctors, psychiatrists, assistant dying groups. Anybody whose attention, Adam, he could really get in your face. He was the youngest member of Exit International, and that caused a lot of controversy. Nobody wants to see a young person advocating for medically assisted dying. And he brought up difficult, uncomfortable issues, and he took them out into the darkness, and he put them into the light. Adam was not politically correct, and I love and admire him for that. He stood up for what he believed in. I was amazed at the amount of people that contacted me from all around the world. I had no idea the impact that my son had with all these people from Denmark, Sweden, Australia, India, Hawaii. They did a ceremony for my son in Hawaii yesterday. Adam loved life. He wanted to stick around. But the pain, it became too unbearable, even for my very strong son. So that's why in this situation we call this irrational suicide. Adam had an incredible bond with me. Our love was so deep, so powerful. We didn't always agree at the beginning with this issue, but we loved each other. And I'm just scrambling because I'm trying to find... My son wrote me this letter just a few hours before he died. Mom, I know we had our differences, and I really wish that were not the case. That being said, thank you for all the good things you've done for me. I know you've tried hard, and I've always known that you love me. I never took it for granted. Know that I appreciate all the good things you did do. I'm struggling to type right now. The pain is so bad. My whole vision is messed up. Panic attacks are coming out. My hands, my eyes, my face are burning. It's my time to go. I wish it were not so, but it is the right time. If I can be, I'll be with you, watching over you. I don't believe that we will see each other again, but I sincerely hope that I am wrong. Please stay strong despite my loss. I know how much it will hurt you. It hurts me more than you'll ever know. I love you both. Sincerely, your son. Kiss, hug. My son deserved to die with dignity, with his family and his friends beside him in his own comfy bed.